Do we think that rookie Mac Jones would have been able to handle a Shanahan-like offense? Like, if he was the number 3 overall pick, do we think Mac Jones is being talked about as one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL right now? Or do you think he needed everything he went through and got here at the perfect time for this type of situation, Dano, on your victory lap?
Yeah, I truly believe if he went to San Francisco at 3 that year, he would be one of the top, 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. I had felt that. I would say this, though. I think on the field, he would have been able to handle Shanahan's offense. I do think the maturity has absolutely kind of grown. I just was watching you guys play his post-game comments, and we've seen Mac have some bad body language and probably comport himself in ways that he wasn't great when he was younger. So I think that and kind of like the maturity throughout the league or his years has developed. I'll say this off the game last night. That's the best game I've ever seen him play in the NFL. I was blown away how good he was. Like, you're showing all these clips. Dude, the timing of these throws is nuts. And the crazy thing is, they're not like 6-yard completions. They're all like 16, 18, 24-yard completions that are big-time throws, and they're coming right out of his hands. But so many times the ball left his hands before the receivers were like dropping their hips and getting into their cuts, and so it was a phenomenal game. It's the best game I've ever seen Mac play, and what a freaking win. Like, what a freaking win by the 49ers, man.
Here's a Hembo stat for you to go along with the point you just made right there. San Francisco's pass game accounted for 82% of its yardage last night. They had been 3-13 under Shanahan when that number was 80+. And then Jones to Bourne this season, second time around for those two, right, Con Man?
Yeah, that was his number 1 when he was in New England, big time.
Okay, so he understands his timing, even though Demarcus Robinson got into the game last night, started making some plays, ex-Ram, obviously getting a big-time win. Jones to Bourne this season, 17 of 20, 85% of his completion rate, 212 pass yards and 10.6 yards per attempt, so they're down the field to your point, 12 first downs, and he has a 95.5 QBR. That is out of 100 scale. So whenever you talk about Bourne, obviously he has some familiarity with, but everybody else he doesn't. I mean, Demarcus Robinson, I forgot he was on the Niners until Kirk Herbstreit brought his name up yesterday. I actually wrote it down. I'm like, oh, yeah, Demarcus Robinson's on that team. Sprinkled a little bit on anytime TD on Demarcus Robinson. He was out of bounds. Mac needs to throw that ball better, okay? Mac needs to throw that ball. We're talking about him being great. Yeah, well, my anytime touchdown does not think that is with Demarcus. But on that note, he doesn't know these guys that much, and he's not getting a lot of 1 reps out there, right? Isn't that something else to be added into all of this, Dano?
Yeah, I think he's got more reps than most backups, obviously, because he's had to play for almost a month now, right? And so I think that's a part of this. I do believe that last night is this kind of walking example of some of the things we often lose sight of when it comes to quarterback play. Obviously, coaching's a massive part of quarterback performance. Like, we can definitively say quarterbacks can only play as good as their play caller. Like, they go hand in hand. We saw that last night. And then watching that game, I felt like, rewatching it this morning, it felt like I was rewatching the Dak versus Green Bay game. Because, like, during it, I'm like, how is the Rams' defensive line not getting home? How are they not getting to Mac and sacking him more? And, dude, there are so many throws that he cuts the ball. Like, they actually win at the defensive line, and he cuts it loose right before he gets hit, and that was exactly what Dak did against Micah and that Green Bay defensive line. And so I think that is another example of, like, dude, how important playing on time is right now at that position. It minimizes so many things. And then I would shout out their offensive line. Like, again, I'm just talking about how fast or how much playing on time helped him. Their offense, that throw's ridiculous, dude. Their offensive line was very impressive last night because that Rams defensive front is big time. But man, it's the example of this quarterback development, quarterback performance. Who would you rather have? Where you go matters. Like, it's another example of that we have in the NFL of, like, dude, it all matters on the player. Or for the player, how well he can perform.
Dano, what's your opinion on McVay going for it, 4th and 1, in field goal range, going for the win? Also, like, what is your opinion on the play call? In my opinion, people want to kill the play call. If it works, it works. If you got to run some trickery and it doesn't work, people are going to say, hey, why don't you just run up the middle? You can get 1 yard. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, bad play call, and I love Sean McVay, and I don't need to tell everybody he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. He's one of the most creative coaches in the NFL. Absolutely love going for it. The quarterback, I don't know how you lose that game playing quarterback the way Stafford did. Let me talk about this stop in overtime, okay? I think the Rams were in like third or fourth in, I believe, 2 or less. It's like 6 times. They ran that play right there 4 out of the 6 times, or 4 out of the 5 times. They ran the same play, AJ, on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, 4 or 5 times previous of that game. The same exact play, same exact formation. So, like, in that situation, 5 times throughout that game, they got into that like three-man surface, 4-man surface where they had the receiver just off the hip of the tight end and then another receiver outside, and they ran duo. They did it all throughout the game. Now, they convert, I think, on all of them, but the pass to Devontae is the one I'm not counting. On 3rd and 1, they threw a ball to Devontae. He doesn't see it the same way. So here's my point. They had this same situation, like short yardage, I think 5 times in the game. They ran that same play out of the same formation all times but one. And you see San Francisco, that safety, and I don't want to pronounce his name wrong, but I think it's 36. Siegel or something. Dude, every single time he's downhill on it. Every single time he's downhill on it. And it's like, dude, I was shocked. I'm shocked that Sean McVay, one of the most creative and great coaches in the NFL, I'm not shocked that he went for it. I'm shocked that he went to the same play that he had gone to so much in that game. That's the thing that I think he's going to sit back and be like, man, I can't believe I did that in that moment. Because usually he's a step ahead of the defense, and you can tell the defense knew what the play was going to be more than likely because of what had happened in that game.
Got to have it. That's literally the most important play. Got to have it. So he said, I blew that game. That's 100% on me. He took accountability. We assume he will go back to the what was the name of that movie? Beautiful Mind. Beautiful Mind. Yeah, yeah. Beautiful Mind. When he's at that, when he's got that window, he's just drawing up a bunch of shit. I assume Sean McVay is going to do that because what you're saying is obviously echoed by a lot of people that know play calling and ball and everything. But he knows that too. That was his answer. Basically, was like, I let the team do it. I appreciate though. And Salah, good to see him back, bro. We haven't seen that in a long time. We haven't seen that in a long time, right there. That right there. And Lynch, hey, boys, we got nobody on our team to beat the Rams. It is obviously a good moment for them. But I appreciate Sean McVay for the good of ball going for that. For the good of ball. You know, hey, we just had a tie. Packers, Cowboys. What everybody said we hated it, right? Maybe that's the answer. Team can't go for tie. If it's after, like, maybe
I like that.
Maybe that's the answer that we need, and maybe Sean McVay is like, if nobody wants to make a rule change, I'll start it, and then maybe on a head coach group text, they'll continue that. So I appreciate him doing that for the good of ball. But we were all surprised that we're not dependent on this one here. Whenever the biggest, most important play of all time, let's get this guy the ball. Maybe
I would also say, Pat, like their short yardage, like red zone bootleg game or play action pass game is as good as anybody's in the NFL. So, like, if there was ever a time, Stafford was ridiculous last night. I mean, some of the throws he makes are just absolutely out of his mind. And so, I think if you're the Rams, you got to sit back and sit in at 3-2, and you got to be going, dang, dude, like we're 3-2, and really because I guess I would say it's like sloppy football. They wasted this game, a division game. Their quarterback, I don't think you can play much better and throw it much better than Stafford did. He probably had like 3 misses that are misses, but, you know, you lose to the Eagles in many ways because of a sloppy second half and sloppy field goal operation. Then last night, you lose because of a fumble on a toss. You get the same friggin' kick block at the same position. The blocked extra point last night is off the same block that the Eagles did. It comes in the same location, man. So, like, the same block. You missed the extra point. The fumble on the goal line. Dude, it's just...
The same fourth down plays. The same, it's like the same. It's all like the same. Yeah, you're saying it.
It's like surprising to think... Yeah, and it's like this is one of the most well-run organizations in football. Like, I would say one of the most adult-run, you know, like, buttoned-up organizations in football. And I think they got to sit back at 3-2, like, we've lost 2 games really because of Like
What a
our
play.
own
Alfred
destruction.
Collins.
Our own destruction.
Talks Table has a question for you. I believe it is Ty Schmidt.
Yeah, Dan, obviously it's a little early in the season to talk about must-wins and stuff like that, but at this point, through almost the quarter mark, I think you kind of know who you are and you start to see the playoff picture. Now we're hearing Lamar didn't practice again today. There's a chance that, or it's probably a likelihood that he's not going to play Sunday. Are we in must-win territory for the Ravens here? I mean, if they lose another one and slip to 1-4 and Lamar is more banged up than we thought, what should we be thinking about the Ravens this weekend?
Yeah, no, this is a must-win for Baltimore for me. So they play Houston this weekend, and this is my thought on it. You play Houston this weekend, and if you find a way to win this game, and I think they can beat Houston without Lamar, I'll get into the how. Then they play the Rams next weekend, right? And then the bye. So if you can find a way to win this weekend, and Lamar is somewhat trending towards being better next week, but probably not where you want them, then you can realistically sit there and say, okay, we got the win. We're at 2-3. We would love for Lamar to play, but we really want 2 weeks of more health and break on that hammy. Let's try to win another without him, because at worst case, if you win this week, you get to 2-4 because of the way that things are shaking up in their division, and I think as the AFC as a whole, I still don't think at 2-4 they're out of it, especially if they're able to take that 3-week break with Lamar, get him healthy. Obviously, they've got problems on their football team as far as the execution and I think some philosophical things. But I think this is a must-win. Now, how do they do it versus Houston?
Well, I just think Chuck Pagano.
Nah, I got no problems with Chuck. No problems with Chuck.
Okay.
Well, yeah, so I would say this. There's no team in the NFL that has given the ball to their running backs less on first and second down than the Baltimore Ravens. So on first and second down, the running back that's got the least amount of carries in the NFL is Derrick Henry. That, for me, doesn't
Why?
make it
Dan, why is that happening? Why aren't they giving him the ball first and second down?
Yeah, AJ, I don't know. I don't know. And Todd Monken's a phenomenal. I mean, they have a historically great offense last year. So is it because they think the defense is struggling? And so, you're trying to just, score points as much as possible. First down's the easiest down in the NFL to throw the ball. So are they being aggressive throwing the ball on early downs? So I believe in that philosophy. But, having the least amount of carries on first and second down, I'm not saying we have to have the most, but we have Derrick Henry. I think last week against the Chiefs, I think he had 5 carries on first and second down. So that's the philosophy thing. So, how do they beat Houston? I think they got obviously 25-plus carries for Derrick Henry. Got a big deal. Got to be a big deal. They got to be really good with the play action, even if Lamar's not in there. And so I think they can beat Houston, but I do believe it's a must-win. But they got to remember who they are. Remember who you are offensively.
A lot of people out, bro. Put this up. Jamison Henley, I believe he reports for the Ravens, put up that there's 7 guys out, and they're all names that we know. These are all dudes we know.
Injury, man.
Yes, so is all of them. I mean, all of those are huge names, let alone the D tackle Matabike, who is out for the season. I mean, it's not good over there, but I believe in the Ravens culture after watching them on Hard Knocks. But maybe their philosophies need to change, and also maybe they're not giving him the ball because he fumbled fourth quarter 2 games in a row. A lot of people on the internet are saying maybe he's getting punished for that. It's well, what got you to the fourth quarter? This guy rushed for 185 yards before. Maybe we do that again. Speaking of teams that win games and not everybody's happy, Tone has a question about some Johns down there in the city of brotherly love.
Yeah, I do, Dano. There's 2 4-0 teams in the NFL, and one of them is the Philadelphia Eagles, and they are 29th in the league in yards per rush and 31st in the league in yards passing per game, and I think 138 yards a game. But they're still 4-0. But there's the stuff with A.J. Brown. What do you they got to get Saquon go. What do you think about the Philadelphia Eagles offense so far this season? What's different than last year?
Yeah, not the Pennsylvania team I thought you were going to ask me about. So I'm a little bit disappointed not getting in a fight over it. But
no, we don't need you came out and you said, hey, they went 6 offensive linemen. They had Darnell Washington doing it right. We're good, Dan. We're on good terms.
All right, sweet.
Hold on, Dan. I don't want to get into the whole victory lap thing. Dan's taking a big time victory lap about Mac Jones, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Isn't he out there, Gubs? He's just out there doing his thing. Look at it. He just bought this shirt from a tent outside of the stadium.
Yeah. Gubs! Yeah. Look at that camera, Gubs!
It was awesome. We were eating at Ramajamma with Josh Chapman, and then there's tents outside in between Ramajamma and the stadium. And Gumpy just goes out there, and all of a sudden he comes back like it's a merch store. There's a Daytona 500 Dale Earnhardt merch shop outside of Ramajamma near the stadium. It is beautiful. He's taking a victory lap with that thing, isn't he, with the old Mac Jones?
Yeah, I was wondering about his Justin Fields MVP take.
Or what about your Steelers going 0-6? You want to talk about the other Pittsburgh team. You called them going 0-6. That just got brought up a couple days ago. So the Mac Jones thing, pretty good, because all of Pittsburgh was taking all of the steel that we've created for the entire world and just blasting you right in the shin and balls with that 0-6 thing. Now, you don't have to respond. Okay, you'll say, it was before they had Aaron Rodgers.
I want to respond.
What's that?
Why can't I respond? I said that comment
because it's all bullshit.
Oh, Dan.
Everything you're saying is
Dan,
bullshit right now.
You did say it before Aaron was on the team, but don't pretend after Aaron was signed that you were like, oh, this is you said.
I literally did a preseason show that July 26th and picked the 7 AFC playoff teams and picked the Steelers in the playoffs.
You smell that?
You only did that in case.
I smell it. Oh, yeah, I smell it.
You smell it?
Yeah, it reeks right now.
I'm in Alabama. I don't know if you guys can smell it. What state are you in, Dan? What state's that?
I'm in Connecticut, and I was right on the Steelers.
Isn't that crazy that from Connecticut to Indiana with the boys in the Thunderdome, you guys can smell it, right? AJ?
Oh, yeah.
You can smell it.
A little bit.
And I'm down here in Alabama. Bullshit. All of it. Just absolutely everything.
No,
Just
there's none of it.
absolute shite
It's
coming.
100%
Manure coming through the TV down here. Brand new tunnel, Dan. They just opened this thing 2 weeks ago. And there's bullshit radiating through the whole thing.
Steelers fans have been killing me. Jersey Jerry DM'd me last night and goes, "Are you gonna own up to your 0-6 Steelers or your Steelers take?" I said, "Which one?"
Good question, Jersey Jerry. That's a good question.
And he said 0-6, and I said that when Aaron wasn't on the team. Once he got on the team, I picked him to make the playoffs. He goes, "I did not know that. My bad."
No, Jersey, don't back off, Jersey Jerry. No, that is
What?
okay. I hope he gets a microphone and he doesn't back off. But let's go. Sorry, Tone. Go ahead, Tone. I'm sorry, Tone. It's Phil. Let's talk about the other side of the state. Obviously, Pennsylvania's a football state. Need to be Oregon, but Pennsylvania is a football state. Go ahead,
I was gonna B-rabbit Dan real quick and say, yeah, they've been outgained by 200 yards in 2 of their wins or whatever. And, the offensive line hasn't looked great and the run defense hasn't looked great. But, they're still 3-1. So that's okay, Dan. And we're just going to move on to the Eagles question, okay?
All right. Yeah. So this is my thoughts on Philadelphia. I think right now running the football is a struggle for them in between the tackles. I think they miss Mekhi Becton. If their offense doesn't improve, it will get them beat. No team in the NFL has more negative runs than the Philadelphia Eagles.
Sheesh.
Coming off of a historic run season. No team has more negative runs than Eagles. They lead the NFL. And most of it is in between the tackles. I think like last year, Hembo sent me numbers. In between the tackles, I think Saquon averaged like 5.5 yards per carry. This year's like 1.5 yards per carry. So then the connective part of that is, well, the pass game. I would tell you this. I think A.J. Brown is being asked to do, I would call them like high school routes type of stuff. He basically just is running in straight lines.
Oh, no.
And there's a beauty to that. No, there's a beauty to that. Like A.J.'s such a physically dominant player. It's like, hey, run a go route, run a stop route. I just think that they can ask him to run more routes than that. And so I think his route tree is a little minimized. And then I'd say this, I think Jalen's become a very risk-averse quarterback. And so, 3 years ago when AJ was like one-on-one, I think Jalen would give him a lot of opportunities to catch the ball. And I don't think that Jalen is doing that right now down the field. I think, when AJ's down the field one-on-one, Jalen's very much so protecting that throw and not putting the ball even remotely close into harm's way. So I do think it can improve, but it's going to have to get better or it'll get them beat.
Dano, Carson Wentz, quick pivot here. Carson Wentz playing in London has about half the roster out. It feels like they are hurt. What do you think they can do? Can they find a way to get a win over this Browns team?
Dude, their defense in Minnesota is going to have – I think that, like, this game feels like 13-10. Minnesota's offensive line, specifically the left guard and the center, are really struggling big time. And you're going against one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. And so this is a huge challenge for Minnesota offensively to try to, I think, generate some positive yardage, try to get points on the board any means necessary. You do not want to give the football away because you want to ride your defense in this game. And so, what quarterback, what offense values the ball the most? I think this is just a low-scoring, ugly football game because Minnesota's offensive line is so beat up, and obviously playing against that defense in Minnesota with the rookie quarterback in Cleveland and an offense that's really devoid of talent. So I think whatever offense
Jerry Judy's on that. Yeah, you need to watch your mouth, then. Jerry Judy's our favorite football player. Okay?
Jerry Judy's a good player.
He's a great player.
The total for
go ahead.
I was going to say the total for this game is 35.5, by the way, which I believe is the lowest of the season.
I'm taking over.
Okay, me too. On that note, I would like to, obviously, I want to get into your thoughts on Dillon Gabriel and how he's going to do and what your expectations are for him. But I also would like to follow up with, you think the Carson Wentz experience against this Cleveland Browns defense
not great
isn't gonna generate at least 14 points for the Browns?
For somebody.
Somebody.
I don't know. I'm a little, again, I'm a little bit concerned against this defense. Carson does like to hold the football a little bit and be a playmaker.
Yeah, be a playmaker. Yep, that's it. Yep. Yeah, I agree. Yep. Is this the one where he throws? Yep. This one.
Great play.
Okay. So we are fans of this. We think it's electrifying for football. We've actually pitched that he should be this one.
Yeah, it's
two
good
people
one,
flip.
too.
That ball's out. Ball's out. Ball's out. So I've pitched the last week. Carson Wentz needs to be a starter on a football team that is debuting in a new country.
That interception's not his fault, guys.
No, of course. It's just a part of the whole thing. It's part of the whole thing.
It's part of the experience.
Yeah, there's
good plays in there too.
Boom! Look at that. That's unbelievable. There's the first play. You didn't comment on it because you didn't know what we were doing. Run, no look, sidearm to Justin Jefferson. Great play. Then he got some of these.
This is the best.
So he needs to be a starter on a team that is playing in a new country. Whoever goes to Australia should be required to have Carson Wentz as one of the team's starters because it's the most electrifying style of football. Every play could be a touchdown.
Yes.
Bingo. Yes, exactly. That is 100% right. So this Cleveland Browns defense, I think, not only anytime touchdown, but maybe touchdowns from this Cleveland Browns defense over there. But also on that note, Carson might throw 4 tuds. He might go for 400 yards against this Browns defense because it just makes no sense, and that's a part of the experience. Let's go with Dillon Gabriel, though. Obviously, a lot has been talked about with him being 5'11", third-round draft pick. Who knows how he's been able to actually handle and compartmentalize all the drama with the fifth-round draft pick, Shedeur Sanders, that's been there. But who cares about any of that whenever he gets on the field? What should be realistic expectations of this Dillon Gabriel? I know B-Flow's defense is good. Everybody's defense is good except for maybe 1 or 2 teams. How should we view him as a rookie starter here, and what are your expectations?
Yeah, I think my expectations are low and realistic because of, one, that defense he's going against is fantastic. And so if he's not good on early downs, getting the ball out of his hands right now, and they're not efficient yards after the catch, he's going to get it, and this offense will get themselves into trouble. We all know that because of this blitz package. I think the number one thing is how much they move him and how much they go play action. That's really been the problem with this offense is it's the fundamental starting point is the play action part of it. That's Stefanski's offense. It just hasn't been good enough this year. And so how well he operates that, and that was probably the thing that was surprising in the preseason, was how good he did in that because he didn't do a lot of it in college. They're going to have to move him because to help try to just get him away from some of those rushers. I think the screen game's huge for them. I think the completion game, just get the ball out of his hands early and try to get some yards after the catch is going to be a really big deal. I don't want to be disrespectful, but this isn't the most talented offensive roster in the NFL. We know that.
Hey.
So, no,
there's Judy's on that team.
Remember? Quit your John
Judy's a
kids.
good player, but I think there are 2 other, because Tillman's hurt. The 2 other receivers I think are young kids in Jamari Thrash and Isaiah Bond. So you got young players now. Fannin, their young tight end, has been awesome. With him and Njoku are good players together, and so. But you're not going out there with a ton of firepower. And so I think it's just realistic that I think there'll be good moments, but I would expect some certain struggles going against that defense.